What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to talk about that Indie World showcase that we just got today, August 7th. I thought it was a pretty darn fun Indie World. I saw some mixed opinions online, but I feel like with these Indie World showcases, you kind of got to be in the loop with what's going on in the indie scene to sort of understand what you're seeing, because a lot of this stuff doesn't really pop off the page, and unless you recognize names or developers or titles of games that have been announced previously, some of this stuff might not seem as exciting to you. So allow me to be your guide and tell you the stuff I found to be most interesting from this indie world, and trust me, there is a lot to be excited about that we saw today. Let's get into it. This should be pretty quick because it was a pretty brief indie world, just around 15 minutes, and I've only got about 10 games on my list. But we started with Mina the Hollower, which was a really nice announcement to get. I talked about it in my last video. We didn't have a Switch or Switch 2 version confirmed. People assumed it was going to come to Nintendo consoles because Yacht Club is sort of synonymous with Nintendo consoles at this point. All of their games have been on Nintendo hardware, but it had yet to be confirmed, so I'm glad we finally got that confirmation, and we have a limited time demo that's available for the next 2 weeks. It's going to be the first level and the first boss, and great news, the progress of the demo will carry over. So if you're not sold on Mina the Hollower, which is this 2D Zelda-like game from the creators of Shovel Knight, you can try it out for the next 2 weeks. And another cool thing we saw, I believe on Yacht Club's website, the Switch 2 version is going to run in 120 FPS, which isn't necessarily surprising because this is a pixel game, but we haven't really gotten any games running in 120 FPS yet on the Switch 2. I don't know if the demo runs in 120, I haven't tried it out yet, but the main game is going to. So that's just another reason I'm excited for Mina the Hollower. Can't wait to try it out today, can't wait to play it in full on October 31st. This next announcement was my game of the show, Well Dweller, which is a new game from Kyle Thompson, the creator of Crypt Custodian, which was an indie game that came out last year that I didn't get a chance to play until it came to Game Pass in 2025, but I adored when I played it. It's one of my favorite Metroidvanias of all time. It's got an incredible soundtrack, I believe, by Kyle Thompson's brother, great art style, great combat, great exploration. I 100%ed the game, which is something I rarely do at all, but I've never done before with a Metroidvania. And this game seems to be in a similar ilk to Crypt Custodian. It's not an isometric top-down game anymore. It is rather a straight-up 2D platformer, but you can tell it's a Metroidvania. There was that big map, there was upgrades, there was big, creepy boss fights. That's one thing. These boss fights, these character designs look super freaky, which was not the case with Crypt Custodian, which was a rather cute game. There were some creepy bosses in it, but it was mostly a good time, cozy, cute Metroidvania, and I loved it for that. But this game seems to be getting a little darker, and I think that could be a really cool direction for Kyle to go in. I really didn't expect to get another game from Kyle Thompson so soon, so I'm super excited for Well Dweller. They've got a 2026 date on it right now. I can't wait to hear more. Hopefully at the Day of the Devs next year, maybe it'll show up. Who knows? Regardless, I am super excited. Speaking of Day of the Devs, the next game we saw was Neverway, which is a game that was featured at Day of the Devs and a game I talked about in my Summer Games Fest reaction video. I was taken aback by this game when we first saw it at Day of the Devs. It's so striking in its art style, and the pixel artist who worked on Celeste talked about in this indie world how he used contrast and colors to make such a striking art direction and striking image for this game. And you can tell in the footage we saw, I mean, it's this color palette that you really don't ever see with really any game, but especially a pixelated game like this. It's still colorful and vibrant, but it's very moody. It's a lot of blues and oranges and grays and browns, and I think it makes such a striking image. And it's no surprise that the pixel artist for Celeste is going to come up with a cool art direction for his new game, but nonetheless, I am super excited for this one. It's coming out 2026. This is another game that we knew was coming out, but we didn't know was coming out for the Switch. Super excited to play this one on my Nintendo Switch. I thought after those first 3 games, the indie world slowed down just a little bit, but there was still some cool stuff to talk about. Herdling was the next game we saw. This game looks pretty cool. It's got a nice art style. I was disappointed to not hear this one was getting a Switch 2 version because it does look a little rough on the Switch 1. Regardless, the game sees you herding a bunch of animals across these beautiful, picturesque environments, incredible skyboxes and stuff. It looks like a really pretty game. Hopefully this comes to other consoles because I don't really want to play the Switch version. I don't think it's going to run or look well, but if it comes to Switch 2 or if it comes to PS5, I will definitely be checking this one out because it just looks so cozy. It looks so fun. It looks so cute. This is cool. We got a shadow drop for a game I had never heard of, but I looked into it after the Indie World and this got a demo on Steam and people loved it. Is This Seat Taken? It's a puzzle game where you have to fit these little guys into spaces where they'll be most comfortable in various locations, whether it be a museum or an airport or a bus or a train. It's just the perfect type of indie game, right? This incredibly smart and clever idea that is just taken to the max. Pair that with an endearing art style, just a cute vibe overall. You've got a great looking game, and it's a shame that another game that we'll talk about later also got shadow dropped at this presentation because I really want to play this game too, and it's certainly on my list. I might not be checking it out today, but I will definitely be checking it out later because it looks really cute and it is available now. Is This Seat Taken? Available today. One of 3 things we technically got shadow dropped in this indie world if you count the Mina the Hollower demo. So pretty cool. Another game I would have liked to see a Switch 2 version for, Little Kitty Big City. We got a new update for Little Kitty Big City, which I've heard great things about. I believe that's on Game Pass. So, check that out if you're interested. The Switch 1 version does not look the best, and that's why I was hoping for a Switch 2 version, because I would have hopped in if there was a Switch 2 version announced, but still cool to see Little Kitty Big City getting updates. Such a cute little game. We then got into the Switch 2 games, and this is a pretty big deal. Content warning is coming to the Switch and Switch 2 in 2026. Hopefully the fad of content warning is not over by 2026. Kind of a long time to wait, but people love this game. This is one of the many games this year that has gone like completely viral. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's playing it. I'll be honest, this is the first time I've seen gameplay of Content Warning. I didn't even know what the game was about. Can't say I'm super interested, but it's awesome to see Content Warning being so successful that it can show up in an indie world and get a Switch and Switch 2 port. So awesome stuff there. I'm sure people are super excited for that. Coming in 2026. Ball Times Pit was a very interesting game, perhaps the most unique game of the showcase. Looked a little bit crazy for me. It was a roguelike, sort of like Peggle action shooter, bullet hell sort of game. Like, it just kind of combined everything, and that's why it felt a little bit overwhelming, but it certainly looked cool. The creators in their interview talked about how they worked hard on the art style to make it look as good as it could, and it is really cool. It combines some hand-drawn stuff, it seemed like, with some pixel art stuff. It's just a very strong art direction, very striking. Again, maybe a little bit too much for my taste, but it seemed like a really cool game. We then saw Ultimate Sheep Raccoon. This was the If You Laugh, You Go to Hell game for me. I don't really know what this is, but I hope that you, the humble viewer, are excited for this because it seemed like people were excited for it online. I don't know. It seems cute. Not my type of game, but it seems cute. I watched the Japan Indie World after this, and this got like an even longer trailer in the Japan Direct. So interesting that people in Japan seem to like this even more. But Ultimate Sheep Raccoon, very interesting announcement, and it's coming in winter of 2025. We then got Glaciered, which certainly piqued my interest because it is a JRPG, which you just don't see a lot of from indies. For whatever reason, the JRPG genre is one that feels like it's dominated by bigger companies, bigger Japanese companies, and this is a Japanese indie developer who wanted to take a stab at it. It looks really cool. It's an underwater real-time action JRPG where you explore these scary depths of the sea, you collect items, you fight these creepy-looking enemies. It's got an incredible vibe. I thought it looked maybe a little choppy on the Switch too, so hopefully they shore that up before it comes out. I believe it's coming out later this year. Certainly one I've got my eyes on. The issue is there's just so many JRPGs coming out. It's like hard to want another one, hard to wish list another one, but this looks really darn cool. We then got a few games in the sizzle reel, and this sizzle reel was way better than it should have been. Among the games that interested me, Opus Prism Peak is a sort of virtual novel photography sort of game. Not anything that hasn't been done before, but this game looks really cute. It seems to have a great vibe, great narrative, great art style. I thought it looked really sharp on the Switch too. Definitely one I'm looking forward to. I believe it's coming this year as well. Just a cozy virtual novel game about like love, something that is always up my alley, always something I'm willing to throw a few hours at. So perfect kind of announcement to have in a sizzle reel. It looks really cool. And then they announced the game that I've been asking for on Switch for a year. In the sizzle reel, UFO 50 was technically the final announcement of this showcase, and I feel like it was sort of unfair to UFO 50 to not give it the one more thing treatment, because this is a big deal. People are really excited for this game to come to Switch. Everyone who has played this game seems to love it. I talked about it in my last video, but it's essentially this collection of 50 minigames that all have this cohesive narrative of being created by a fictional developer, UFO Soft, who made a bunch of retro games back in the day for arcades and plug and plays and retro consoles, etc. So all of the games, though they seem disjointed, have this through line of being by the same fictional developer, which I think is such a creative idea. And I can't wait to play this game today. It's a shadow drop. I can't believe this was a sizzle reel announcement. This easily could have been the opener or the closer, but I'm so glad it's coming to Switch, and that made my day. I mean, that alone made it better than the partner showcase for me, just because I've been waiting for this game to come to Switch. It is sort of a crime it hasn't yet, because it's just such a perfect fit for the console, and that's why I said, is this seat taken, is going to have to take a back seat, because I am definitely playing this one first when those games drop on the eShop today. Well, those were the games that caught my eye at this recent Indie World. I thought it was pretty good. Not the best Indie World necessarily. I think there have been better Indie Worlds, but for someone like me who, you know, knows who Kyle Thompson is, has just played his game, or had heard of Neverway before, or who is really excited for Mina the Hollower, it was definitely a presentation that I could take a lot out of and appreciate. So let me know in the comments below, did you enjoy this Indie World? What game are you most excited to play? Are you picking up any of those shadow drops we got in this presentation? Let me know all that in the comments below. It's a freaking party, and I'm responding to as many as I can in the comments. So if you comment there, I'll probably I'll hit you back down there. Because again, it's a fun freaking time in the comments section. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that big fat button. I've got some videos in the works. These are more sort of slice of life, quick videos, these discussions on various presentations, but I have some, more, I think, interesting videos in the works. So if you don't want to miss them, subscribe to the freaking channel, hit that bell to make sure you're not going to miss any of it. Share the video with a friend who loves indie games. And with all that said, I'll see you guys in the next one.